Good afternoon. Welcome to the press conference after today's ECOFIN Council in Luxembourg. We have with us Minister of Finance Domański and Commissioner Dombrovskis. To continue our tradition of learning Polish, today we will learn very topical word customs code, which is Kodeks Celny in Polish. Minister, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Works. Good. Okay. I see some are on train. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We have just concluded the last ECOFIN Council under the Polish presidency, and I'd like to begin by thanking all member states, the Commission, and our institutional partners for the excellent cooperation over the past 6 months. On this occasion, let me also express my thanks to you, all media representatives, for your interest in our agenda and your professional reporting on the Council work. Today's Council demonstrated once again the EU ability to deliver concrete results. Let me begin with the most pressing issue, defence financing, to ensure security in Europe. Following the successful adoption of the SAFE instrument, a significant achievement of the Polish presidency, today's discussion focuses on what comes next. We managed to agree on this important file in a record speed, but now we have to focus on translating these political advances into concrete actions. Moreover, Member States acknowledge that SAFE alone will not be enough to meet future needs. We have to expand our thinking beyond what is on the table right now to ensure stable and scalable financing for Europe's long-term security. And I'm really convinced that our Danish friends will keep up the pace in this regard. Moving on, ministers confirmed the importance of the customs union reform and the need to adopt the mandate for negotiation with European Parliament. After months of intensive negotiations, we achieved significant progress and we are close to a final agreement. We hope to reach it still in June. We also presented the achievements of our presidency in the field of financial services, including the Council's negotiation mandate on the payment services, finalization of work on the changes to the capital requirements regulation, as well as shortening the settlement cycle from 2 to 1 day. In addition, we discussed today energy prices and competitiveness. As presidency, we placed this topic very high on the agenda, and today we continued the strategic discussion launched in January. Ministers noted the need for a coherent EU strategy to ensure affordable, secure and clean energy. At the same time, we must ensure a level playing field in the single market. And I'm really encouraged by the readiness expressed today to further work towards a resilient and stable energy market through developing interconnectors, grids and ensuring interoperability on the energy system. On Ukraine, we reviewed the state of play regarding macro-financial assistance and sanctions enforcement. Solidarity with Ukraine remains our defining priority. We also took stock on the 2025 European semester spring package and broadly supported its horizontal findings. Ministers from the euro area also adopted the recommendations paving the way for Bulgaria to join the euro area on January 1st, 2026. This decision marks a key milestone for economic integration. Bulgaria is now firmly on track to join the euro area. Finally, the Council approved the decisions on updated recovery and resilience plans for 8 member states, including Poland. Expectations for our presidency were high, and rightly so. From day one, we approached our role not just as a facilitator, but as an engine for action, being an honest but an active broker at the same time. And if I may, I'd like to conclude past 6 months. I think our biggest success is a continuing progress when it comes to financing of defence. This is a priority number 1 of the Polish presidency. we have achieved things that once seemed unattainable. We pushed forward rearm package, the biggest in the history of the EU, including the €150 billion SAFE instrument. We reached consensus on flexible treatment of defence spending under the EU fiscal rules. As you know, 16 member states request activation of the national escape clause. Then I'm happy about the deregulation efforts. I think for the first time we managed to mobilize everyone on the EU level to make life for businesses easier, especially for the small and medium ones. For example, we quickly reached an agreement on stopping the clock on reporting requirements in the CSRD. We also hope that the intensive work we started on the 5 omnibus packages will be continued, and I'd like really to welcome Valdis for his tremendous job in those simplification and deregulation efforts. Finally, I'm satisfied with our results in simplifying taxation. For instance, we have adopted a package on VAT in the digital era, simplifying the invoicing procedures and tax declarations in the EU. To sum up, we want to make EU more open for business, reducing cost and encouraging innovation. In addition, we kept Ukraine high on the agenda politically and practically, and ensured continued discussion on support measured and the potential use of frozen Russian assets. In total, we drove the economic conversations forward through more than 150 technical meetings and dozens of trialogues, helping shape EU policy through constructive engagement. And we represented the EU globally, including G20 meetings where we consistently delivered a message of European unity. Let me conclude by expressing my deep appreciation to everyone involved in making the Polish presidency in the ECOFIN Council a success. Having Valdis here, I would also like to thank you and your team for your excellent cooperation, which I'm confident we will continue. None of those achievements wouldn't be possible if we couldn't have such a devoted presidency team, both in Warsaw and in Brussels. Therefore, my special thanks goes to Ambassador Agnieszka Bartol and my deputies, Paweł Karbownik, Juran Drop and Małgorzata Krok, for their dedication and professionalism. Now I'd like to offer my best wishes to our Danish friends and to Stefanie Loze, who I'm sure will do a great job as the incoming president of the ECOFIN Council. I wish Denmark every success in the months ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. Commissioner, please.
Thank you, Minister. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank the Polish presidency for excellent work during these 6 months. Mr. Minister provided quite a comprehensive overview of what Polish presidency have achieved over these last 6 months, so I'm not going to repeat, just to highlight that we have emphasized the 2 key priorities for the European Union, which are competitiveness and security and defense, and we were fully aligned with Polish presidency in driving the work forward in regards with those 2 key priorities. From today's ECOFIN, so first of all, we had a discussion on the economic situation, where the global tensions and uncertainty remain high, including the escalating conflict in Middle East between Iran and Israel, which also casts a shadow on economic outlook. While the EU economy remains resilient, recent developments further underline the urgency of taking decisive action to enhance our competitiveness and security. The European Semester Spring Package adopted earlier this month was an important step in this regard. So today I presented ministers with the main elements of this package, which provides a comprehensive and coherent set of policy actions for member states aimed at maintaining macroeconomic stability, while enhancing Europe's competitiveness and security. So now it's time to focus on implementation. I also provided the meeting with a Commission's regular update on the progress on implementation of a recovery and resilient facility. And so far we have disbursed 317 billion euros to member states. But we need to make further progress as the clock is ticking. The legal deadline provides that all milestones and targets must be met by the end of August 2026. It means we have a little more than 1 year left to submit all outstanding payment requests and supporting evidence. So with this deadline looming, I presented today's meeting with the Commission's communication from earlier this month, which provides overview of the actions that Member States can take to ensure that their recovery and resilience plans are implemented in time. This includes, amongst other options, revising plans where necessary, simplifying them where possible, and taking appropriate steps to prepare for those last payment requests. The RRF has already had a major impact across Europe, and now it's time to make sure it finishes strongly in 2026, and our communication provides clarity on how Member States can make the most out of the time what is left. I welcome today's ECOFIN decision supporting the Bulgaria's Euro accession as of January 1st, 2026. This is indeed a major milestone. So now this will pass for discussions to the European Council and then coming back to the ECOFIN for a final decision in July ECOFIN. We also held our exchange on developments related to Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine. And it is an especially challenging period for Ukraine as Russia escalates its vicious missile and drone attacks. As regards financing, there are also some positive news. Firstly, we welcome that the IMF has reached a staff-level agreement with Ukraine for the 8th program review. This reflects continued reform progress by Ukrainian authorities, which is even more impressive against extremely challenged background. Secondly, with regards to G7 Aero Loans initiative, in June we completed agreement procedure with Japan. This marks important milestone. Now all G7 members have signed agreements to provide financial support for Ukraine through the Aero Loan initiative, totaling 45 billion euros. So from the EU side, we have provided another disbursement of 1 billion euros under this initiative last week, so bringing the total amount disbursed by now to 7 billion euros. Overall, the message continues to be that the EU and its like-minded partners continue to stand with Ukraine. And we also had a highly relevant informal discussion last night where we took stock of Ukraine's future needs and committed to explore all possible options for future assistance. To conclude, on a closely related note, with a word on our exchange this morning on defense issues, I would like to thank you to the Polish presidency and to member states for their efforts to achieve the coordinated activation of national escape clause and swift adoption of the safe defense loan instrument. Both initiatives will play a crucial role in enhancing Europe's security and deterring aggression in the years ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. The first question goes to Beata, please.
Beata Włęcka, Polish Radio. I've got a question to the Polish Minister concerning the modification of the RRFs. Do we know the timing? Because it paves the way for another payment. Do we know the timing? When can Poland receive another payment from RRF? Thank you. I would appreciate the answer in Polish. Thank you.
Sometimes I know it's better in English than in Polish. Obrona i przywracanie bezpieczeństwa Europie było od samego początku priorytetem polskiej prezydencji. w ciągu ostatnich miesięcy wykonaliśmy wiele działań na rzecz tego, aby poprawić bezpieczeństwo Europy, zwiększyć nakłady na obronę. W Polsce wydajemy już prawie 5% polskiego PKB. Chcemy zrobić wszystko, aby również inne kraje europejskie wzięły większą odpowiedzialność za bezpieczeństwo, ale w ramach tego dużego pakietu REARM, w tym instrumentu SAFE, również dostrzegliśmy możliwość skuteczniejszego wydawania środków z KPO. Dlatego oczekujemy, że te środki mogą trafić do Polski w ciągu kilku tygodni. Oczywiście kluczowa tutaj będzie, czekamy na decyzję komisji, która właśnie powinna mieć miejsce w ciągu kilku tygodni. Ale mówimy tutaj o relatywnie krótkim okresie. Te środki są potrzebne jak najszybciej.
Dziękuję. Yes, please go ahead.
Good afternoon. My name is Momchuincho from Club Z Bulgaria. 2 questions. First questions to Minister Domański. Minister, was the today decision for Bulgaria to join the euro, was it approved anonymously or not? Second question to Commissioner Dombrovskis. Commissioner, today, just a day after the Eurogroup decision and the same day when the finance minister, the ECOFIN, approved Bulgaria to join the euro area, an article in Politico appeared titled, "Has Bulgaria gamed up the inflation?" So would you comment these assertions? Thank you.
Yes, the decision has been taken unanimously, as we do appreciate the substantial improvement of macroeconomic situation in Bulgaria.
Yes, on the second question, obviously, when we were preparing the convergence reports, we were assessing, as one of the convergence criteria is inflation, we were assessing Bulgaria's compliance with inflation criteria and all the also factors affecting inflation developments in this regard. So the article you referred to refers primarily to the question on hospital fees. However, if we take a broader look, so all in all, Bulgaria's average inflation over the reference period, which was May 24 to April 25, was 2.7%, so below the reference value of 2.8%. And it's worth noting that annual inflation rate actually quite substantially increased from 2.5% at the end of the last year to 3.8% in March this year. And a significant part of this increase was linked to the expiration of reduced VAT rates on bread, flour and restaurants, as well as restoration of 20% VAT rate and increase in some excise duties. So all those developments were included in our assessment, which has led us to conclude that the inflation criteria is fulfilled. And if you look at the balance of decisions taken by Bulgarian authorities, which were influencing inflation over the reference period, so May 24 to April 25, in balance they probably were actually more inflationary than disinflationary, notably as regards changes in indirect taxation, which I mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon. Sorry. Sorry, it's a bit.
It's a bit high.
Sorry. Good afternoon. I have 2 questions for you, Minister, please. One is about customs reform. How confident are you about it to strike a deal maybe next Wednesday at COEPER? And second question is, could you elaborate a bit more about the energy taxation directive? Why is it still blocked somehow? Thank you.
So on your first question, I'm very confident. I do believe that we are very close to an agreement. I believe that lots of work has been done in order to achieve common positions. We had lots of meetings, lots of bilateral discussions with member states, and I believe that we are really close to this very, very important decisions, which are, I believe, also crucial for bringing competitiveness back to Europe. We know that we have this challenge of some unfair competition that European companies have to face. So I believe this is very, very important one, and we adopted a progress report on that. And the second one was about. All right. So from the very beginning, we were putting the competitiveness of European economy as our top priority, and we were repeating that Europe must be an economic superpower, not just a regulatory one. And therefore, we are very skeptical on an additional taxation. And therefore, we believe that such changes, they need a very good, deep analysis. So this is why the progress on this file is limited.
All right, thank you. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Jolanda de Koster from Dutch press agency ANP. I have a question for Mr. Dombrovskis. You said there was a discussion about more options besides SAFE for giving more grants to or more money to Ukraine. Can you elaborate some more about what kind of options are there on the table? Thank you.
Yes, thank you for those questions. So obviously we have now reached the stage where we need to start preparing for the 2026 and also for financial support we are going to provide to Ukraine in 2026. So first, there are already some things which are already on track, including a Ukraine facility, which is there actually till 2027. So we'll continue to provide support under Ukraine facility. Through the G7 era loans initiatives, there will also be support for Ukraine going into next year as well. So we will be disbursing our part, the EU part, this year, but other partners will be disbursing in 2026 and also in 2027. But at the same time, we also need to take into account possibility of negative developments as we see that Russia, if anything, is intensifying its attacks against Ukraine. And correspondingly, it may have also additional, it may create also additional financing needs. So we were exploring those options, including options indeed on possibilities to further leverage the use of Russia's immobilized assets, also discussing the proposal which Ukraine has put on table on possibilities to provide dedicated support for Ukrainian military, which also can contribute in an integrated way also to the EU security. So I'd say in general there was a clear willingness by the ministers to explore those different options and find ways how we continue to support Ukraine going forward.
Thank you very much. Please go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon. This is Gregorio Sorgi from Politico. I'd like to start with a question for Minister Domański on CMDI. After today's discussion, do you think that it's very unlikely to reach a deal on CMDI on Wednesday, and what more work needs to be done in order to go in that direction? And I have two questions for the Commissioner. On Bulgaria today, a senior government official floated the possibility of imposing price caps to counter the rise in inflation. Yesterday you said that you've been engaging and you will continue to engage with Bulgarian businesses to prevent artificial price rises. In what ways are you going to achieve this? And a follow-up question to my previous colleague on Ukraine and funding to Ukraine using Russian frozen assets. One of the options is to transfer the assets and for them to create more revenue. But is the Commission reflecting on this idea, and would it entail transferring the liability from Belgium to the EU as a whole?
So, 6 months ago, I was told that this CMDI file is a difficult one, and it is. Having said that, I'm really proud, as I believe that we achieved a lot thanks to trialogues that we conducted, and it seems that we appear to be moving closer to reaching an agreement with the European Parliament, and to help make this possible, we encouraged delegations today to show additional openness, additional flexibility, and our goal is clear. Our goal remains to ensure that any potential agreement strikes a careful balance between Member States' position. At the same time, we must acknowledge and reflect the European Parliament policy objectives in order to reach a final deal. And I'd like to stress the alignment with the Eurogroup statement of 2022 remains essential. So in that context, the home-host balance must be preserved, and we should definitely avoid introducing new complex issues into the package at this stage. And while the consensus is emerging on the funding equation, we take seriously, really seriously, the concerns of Member States on ensuring that the gap mechanism remains prudent, truly exceptional, and does not give rise to so-called moral hazard.
Thank you.
Yes, as regards this further questions, first on price developments. This is indeed an issue to follow closely. Even though we see also from previous euro changeovers that actually the effect of changeover is on inflation is very limited. In previous occasions, somewhere ranging between 0.1 and 0.3%. And this is more than offset in a medium term through lower interest rates, lower currency conversion costs, better price transparency. But in the case it's something which needs to be followed. So what are the traditional tools to deal with this? Well, first it is a price monitoring to start well in advance and then continue also after the changeover to monitor the development of prices and also, if necessary, if you want to name and shame businesses where if they are using just a euro changeover as an excuse to raise prices. It's dual display of the prices prior and also after the changeover, so that the citizens get used to the prices also in euro terms. It is also work with the business community on what one can call fair introduction of euro, where in a sense it's a voluntary initiative, and we had seen this also in previous countries introducing the euro, where businesses commit not to use the changeover as an excuse to raise prices. So it's typically these type of instruments which are being used to make sure that euro changeover is not used as an excuse. Then on the question of use of proceeds from immobilized Russian assets, that's what I was referring to on exploring the possibilities of further leveraging the use of those assets, but also in yesterday's discussion we did not went in the level of specifics you referred to in a question. Thank you.
Thank you. Sarah, please go ahead.
Hi, Sarah Collins from the Business Post. It's an Irish paper. For Minister Domański, can you be more specific about what the outstanding issues are on the customs reform? For instance, this €2 handling fee, is it clear who will collect and keep that money? And for Commissioner Dombrovskis, your colleague, Commissioner Šefčovič, was supposed to be here at this meeting to discuss the customs reform. I understand he wasn't because he was travelling back from the US, where he had a series of meetings. Should we read that as a good sign that he was in the US all week? How close are we to a deal with the US? And what offers are on the table from the EU side on non-tariff barriers? For example, will EU countries have to remove digital services taxes? And will the EU change its food standards to allow in US imports of beef or chicken or other things like that? Thank you.
Okay. Well, on customs reform, I would call it fine-tuning rather than any substantial, important, outstanding issues. And of course, there is a discussion about these handling fees. I'm glad that we found a general agreement for introduction of these fees. However, there are, of course, some important issues for discussion related how those fees should be distributed, and it's clear that there is such a discussion. Some countries prefer those fees to be collected into the national budgets. For others, it would be better if they would be collected into the European budget. But this discussion is for a later stage, I believe.
On the second question, indeed, our Trade Commissioner Šefčovič is engaged in intensive negotiations with his US counterparts on those negotiations. As those are ongoing negotiations, I cannot now comment on specifics, but obviously it's important, so to say, not to mix up everything with everything. For example, our food safety standards are never part of trade negotiations, and that has not changed. As regards digital services taxation, we see this debate rather in the context of OECD global tax arrangement, where, as you know, we are already implementing in EU law the part related to effective minimum taxation. The questions, however, relate to the fair allocation of taxation rights, and we believe that at the end of the day, it would be better to have this global agreement in the OECD framework, exactly to avoid the fragmented system of everyone imposing a different kind of taxes and restrictions in an uncoordinated way. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry, we have to conclude this press conference. For those of, I see there are still online, especially colleagues, but if you have questions to Minister, you can send the questions to me. If you have questions to the Commissioner, please send it to the Commission, and we will, well, at least on our side, we will follow up, but I'm sure Commission colleagues will do it as well. So thank you. See you on Tuesday, hopefully, for the General Affairs Council, also in Luxembourg, and do widzenia.
And thank you. I'd like to thank all the press representatives for your work during Polish presidency. We really appreciate it. Thank you.